Alright, it's the beginning of the month, and as always, I need to update the tier list with the new batch of units that we got in the month prior. Yeah, it's an interesting month. We got the Valentine's units, which were nothing really special except for Elaine, and then we got this batch, which was very special. This was very recent. This batch was given to us like 3 days ago, but I've used 3? It was 3 days ago, yes. I use these units a lot. I mean, I played the game a lot. I played this game more than it exists. So, the one unit actually from the new batch of characters that I used the least was Gallant. So if my ranking of her seems a little odd, maybe in retrospect in the future, maybe that's why. But if you want to take a look at the list right now, I think I tweaked some things. Oh yeah, I bumped up Estarossa from SS tier to God tier, and I'm going to explain. Because this video will be released right before global launch, but this is a series for JP. Because I still am going to play mostly JP, and I'm going to be updating the content for both JP and global, because, you know, I'm going to keep playing JP. But Estarossa, I put him on God tier because he's good in PvE and PvP. And he's not only good for both of these things, he is incredibly strong for both PvE and PvP, and I think he deserves God tier. On Ungeared, if you're running Estarossa, Gopher, and King, you're easily Champion 1. It's the easiest team ever to get to Champions 1, and I think he deserves God tier for that alone. That's why I put him there. He's a fantastic unit, and now he's a coin shop unit. You can literally buy him from the coin shop. You don't have to summon him. It's so good. It's such a good unit. Eventually I will 6-6 him. He's just so good. And I don't recall if I made any other changes. But yeah, let me explain real quick. I made my tier list based on 2 things, which is how useful a unit is in the game and how purely good it is. How useful is less abstract, right? How useful is how many activities this unit can be used and how effective it is in each activity, right? That's how I rank units. And how good it is, it's more abstract, like, this unit is very good for this niche thing, so it deserves S tier. For example, Blue Bot, he's only good for Red Demon, but he's the best unit for Hell Red Demon. That's why I put him in S tier. He's a very useful unit. Again, this is how I rank. So, let me go to the next batch, the new batch of characters, starting from Elaine, and Red Elaine actually goes to the SS tier. Now, hear me out. Hear me out. She's not very good to use, right? Let me tell what she does. So, these 2 cards right here don't matter. What matters is this. In raids, the status-related buff effects are increased by 50% for all allies. It's so good. You are going to be using her on Hell Crimson, on Extreme Crimson, on Extreme Red Demon, and on Extreme Red Demon. Not as much because a lot of people still go for the freeze thing, but now with Derriere, a lot of people might go for the buff thing, and she's gonna be buffing Derriere if you ever, you know, use her. And for Grey Demon, this unit is gonna be in the back for all raids possible. Now she's very exclusive, so if you didn't pull her on Valentine's, we don't know if she's gonna ever come back. She might come back next Valentine's, but we don't know. It's not confirmed, you know. So if you don't pull her, don't stress about it. That's why I'm actually gonna be fast on these Valentine's units. She's the best of the batch for sure, of these Valentine's units, of course. And I'm putting her SS tier just because of how purely good she is for being the back of raids. And if you get her costumes, you get an extra costume drop for the Crimson Demon. It's just alright, but you know, she's really good because of that niche thing that she does. That's why I'm putting her there. Moving on, we have these 2 girls, which are like, they're solid, right? I don't want to put them too low. I'm going to put both of them in A tier, because what they do is actually pretty solid, but they don't do anything special in any specific activity. Jenna was really good for Super Boss until Derriere came out. It was really good for Super Boss, but after Super Boss leaves, she's not going to be good for anything. So it's like the unit itself is decent, but she doesn't have any place until we get like a super hard enemy that needs his stance to be removed. She's not gonna have any place. So very, okay unit. And Zenari is the exact same thing, where she just doesn't have her place. She is a healer, at least she's a healer, so she can be used as a healer, but there's so many better healers, it just doesn't have a place. That's why I'm putting them on A tier. They can be used, but they just don't have a place that they're good at. And that's why I'm putting there. Now to the more interesting characters, finally. Starting with Red Melascula. So, I'm putting Red Melascula in S tier. Now, she is really good as a character. It's what I say, I have two things I rank on. How useful it is and how good it is. She's really good, but she's not very useful. Now, what I mean by that is, her thing, the passive, is super good. I'm not going to read it because it's a book, but it's super good. And then she has super high lifesteal, 50% lifesteal. And this ability makes her heal so goddamn much. I saw my boy Sora's video. She healed for like 1,000,000. Yeah, like, come on. Why? Why even? She heals so much. She's like immortal. As long as she doesn't get one shot, right? And she's a very solid unit. But she doesn't have a place where she is the best at, or like even top 3 at. So, because like Crimson, right? She is incredible for Crimson. But not as good as Derriere, which we're going to talk about in this video, of course. Not as good as Red Diamelli, or... And she kind of needs Red Diamelli to be in the team for the Ignites, right? Or maybe even Escanor on Hell. Escanor in Hell is like really good. So she falls into the category of just being very good, but not having a place where she's good at yet. Again, a lot of units get a lot of relevancy at one point, right? Good example is Red Arthur. He was just good, but he never was so relevant until, boom, content dropped to where he was relevant at. So it's the same thing, where right now she's good, but she doesn't have anything that she's the best at, or again, even top 3 at. So that's where she stands right now. Now moving to Gallant. He goes in the same ballpark, exactly the same ballpark as Melascula, where he is really good, but he doesn't have a place where he's super good at. He has Crush, which is like super good because it ignores resistance, and his other card removes stance and buff, which is okay. Actually, looking at it, I really want to bump him down. I originally, because I think I make the tier list before recording, I do want to bump him down to A tier. Like, he just, yeah, Melascula goes in the S tier, and I think Gallant goes to the A tier, because the only thing going for him is the passive, and when strength allies use a skill, ignore 30% of the enemy's defense. If this was defense-related stats, including crit resistance, crit defense, defense itself, right, and what's it called, resistance, it would be so much better. It would be 10 times better, because resistance is probably the best thing to ignore. He does ignore resistance himself, but he is meant to be used in the PvP mono red team, and meant to be used in the back, right? So units ignore defense a little bit. But then you can't be using him on the mono red in the front because he petrifies Gopher and yada yada yada. So he's a unit that comes with a lot of negatives as well because of just not being able to use Gopher, which is the best unit in the game. So he doesn't. Just like Melascula doesn't have a place, but I think he's worse than Melascula in most ways. This card is okay. Removing buff is good, but nothing crazy. His ult is not as good with the unit as the other Gallant. Let me make an example. Let me pull the other Gallant. You'll play Melascula here and pull Gallant. Oh, wrong Gallant. This Gallant, it makes sense for his ultimate to buff his base stats because he has Amplify. So he gives himself 3 buffs, and those 3 buffs increase this card attack by 90% on top of the already buffed thing that he gets from his base stat buffer here. So it makes sense, but he doesn't have anything like that. He buffs himself, and yeah, that's really good, but he doesn't have any cards that double down on it, like the blue Gallant has. I would argue blue Gallant is better than red Gallant. So he's in a weird place right now. Again, just like Melascula, he could have a way to improve just by getting different content that could be good for him, but right now, I don't feel too much about him. But yeah, moving on to Green Derriere, which is again the unit I use the least, and I'm also putting her in A tier. She is good, right? When dropping 2 of the same character, this is the second time Grand Cross drops 2 of the same character in one banner. And what they're doing is they are dropping the commandments, right? And they're dropping them in batches of 2, being one is going to be a coin shop unit and one's going to be a summonable unit. We know which one's going to be the coin shop because of the costume. Green Derriere will be the coin shop unit, and the red one will be the summonable unit. But last time it was Estarossa, where he dropped the red one and the green one was the coin shop, red one was summonable. Now the disparity between green Estarossa and red Estarossa is so big, it's incomprehensible how much better green Estarossa is than red Estarossa. But I think it's the same. I actually think it's the same case for red Derriere and green Derriere, but a little less, because this one is still like solid. Again, just like the other two units I just talked about, they don't have a place. She doesn't have much of a place. She is an attempt of being a super mega combo with Monspeed. So if I bring up Monspeed right here, Monspeed has this passive where, sorry. The commanding, I'm sorry. What is that? Yeah, the commanding. The passive is because Derriere actually is the passive that does the thing, but his commandment is that all allies and enemies will not gain auto gauge from using skills on PvP, and her passive is that when enemies move skills, they don't get auto gauge. And that means that if you have both of them at the same time, the enemy can't get auto gauge either from moving cards or using cards, so they have to combine cards to get auto gauge. So you make a team that pretty much makes so the enemy just can't get auto gauge almost at all. Some units can bypass that, of course. Green Escanor has a card where he gains ult gauge. He has the same card as this guy, where it increases ult gauge by 1. Yeah, some units can pass through that, but most units can't. So it's a weird combo, and they're trying to push this combo, but it just doesn't work too much because of the PvP meta right now. If you use this, you're just gonna face a penetration team and get destroyed. That's exactly what's gonna happen. She has an interesting card, which is the Green Merlin card, where it takes off ult gauge. It's a really good card. But this card right here, it's okay. Inflicts 180 and then gets 1 ult gauge. It's okay. It's not that great. And if you're gonna use with Monspeed, which is what they mean to put together, she's not gonna be getting ult gauge. That's why she does get the ult gauge like this. So not that great. She's good, but not that great. Finally, I can talk about the red Derriere. God tier, my girl. Ooh, she's good. Legitimately the best PvE unit in the game. It's so hard to put Gopher in the second place, but in my head I want to put Gopher in the second place. Gopher, if you don't know, he's the best unit in the game because he is good in every activity, and he's really good in every activity. That means every raid demon that he can be used on, which means every raid demon except the Hell ones. Well, of course, you're going to use him on Hell Crimson though. He's good for PvP, he's good for regular PvE activities, he's good for literally everything in the game that he can be used on, right? That's why he is the best unit in the game. But Derriere is literally the best thing possible for anything that she can be used on as well, except PvP. PvP, she's semi-good. She can be used, but a lot of teams will just shut her down. Most teams will just shut her down. So there's that, but she can be used. But she's not like insane, right? Not like Gopher. So she is like, I want to say the second best unit in the game, just by that being alone. If you have never seen gameplay of her, I'll put at the end of this video my showcase for her. But it's so easy to just hit 1 million damage of her. Now here's the thing, Escanor, I have him as 6/6 green, the green one, and I always felt impressed by his damage, right? 400k on an ult, 500k on an ult, and I was like, oh, this guy's so good. And then Derriere drops, and people at 1/6 are dropping 2 million damages with her. They're just, dude, she's so insane because of her passive. When this unit uses a skill, it increases the attack by 10%, and the buff goes away if you don't use a skill for 1 turn, right? And it stacks up until 10 times. Now the reason why it's so busted is because each attack buff, it's an individual attack, so you get 10 buffs. And that matters because her ultimate increases damage by 30% per buff, so the passive itself increases the ultimate damage by 300%, plus the 100% from itself, so that's 400%. And then on top of that, her attack card goes up until 600% at level 3, And she also has a card that boosts her own stats by 20, 30, 50. And on top of that, she can gain dodge, which negates incoming damage by 1 turn. If the only thing that could make her better is if the level 3 dodge was 2 turns, then she would be better than Gopher. In my in my eyes, she'd be better than Gopher. Her commitment doesn't matter that much because she will not be much of a PvP unit. Oh, I didn't even talk about the green Derriere commitment, but to be fair, it doesn't do that much. It's okay. Decreases damage of ranged attacks for all allies and enemies by 35%. That means that if you're using a ranged attack on your team as well, you also decrease it by 35%. But man, she's just so good. And she has insane CP as well. Like, the thing is, a lot of people, they level up units that would increase her the combat class as well. And she has insane combat class. Let me pull out Escanor. If I go here, Escanor, no, if I go, I'm making it so hard for myself, but if I pull it right here, and Escanor should be right here, yeah. Look at Escanor's CP, right? Stats, I'm sorry. Look at Escanor's stats. 560, 280, 7,000. Escanor has, if not the highest stats in the game, one of the highest. I think he has the highest stats in the game. Derriere, she has 7,000, like Escanor, 560, like Escanor, and 350. So she only has 30 less defense than Escanor, and that's it. She has the same attack and HP stat. And she has 50% resistance, so she tanks as well. She's like the highest damage unit in the game, and she also tanks. It's so good, like, and she has lifesteal as well, so she does insane damage, and then she heals because she does insane damage. She's so good. Literally so good. So, if you pull her, you can do everything in the game. I literally, before this video goes out, I'm posting a video where I solo Crimson, Red Demon, and the new super boss with her. She solos Extreme Crimson. Literally just her. Her by herself can solo Extreme Crimson. This is this is a power gap in every level. The game just released a unit that's so good. I don't even know what they can do moving forward. They're probably gonna have to adjust the game to suit with her. They're probably gonna be making some very difficult blue activities from now on, because there's no way in hell they're not gonna balance it out amongst her, because she's so good. She's that good. PvE wise, right? PvP, it's good that she didn't shake the meta that much. Esterosa did shake the meta a lot when he came out. I don't think she's gonna shake the meta as much. I saw a few people running her, but I won almost every time, except when I was using for videos. I was using like the Melascula team, and she's not that good, so I lost. But every single time when I was using my actual team for PvP, I won because she's not that good. But PvE wise, best unit in the game, just blows off the park. That's where the list falls in. Again, if you are someone that's watching this later and you're just playing global, a lot of these units are not in the game, but they eventually will be. And just go by what units are in your game if you're playing global again, and you can kind of sort it out what would be the global tier list. I might make a global tier list only when the game comes out and we know exactly what units are in there, but for now this is what it is. So yeah, there you are, best PvE in the game. Insane. Thank you guys for watching.